it's my pleasure to introduce Director of Aviation for Houston Airports, Jim Szczesniak.
All right, thank you, everybody. Good to be here. Steve, thank you very much. Mayor Whitmire, city council members, air carriers, our federal partners, community leaders, and again, the consultants and engineers that really help us build the airport. Thank you for being here today. Your support has made all the difference in this last month. As Houston Airports assisted our federal partners with the government shutdown that they were impacted by, together, we worked really hard to keep our airspace open and our security lanes moving during these difficult times for your typical federal worker. People often ask me how I got into the aviation industry. So as Steve mentioned, I wanted to be a pilot when I grew up. Got my commercial pilot's license, my flight instructor rating, the aircraft mechanics, but I didn't want to be poor for a decade as I built my hours. So I chose airport management. And so the next question I always get is, what's harder, flying a plane or running an airport? Well, the team and I, we move about 63 million people through Houston annually. We build multi-billion-dollar terminals, and we work to keep passengers and traffic flowing through all the challenges that get placed before us. Government shutdowns, hurricanes, snowstorms, thunderstorms, global IT challenges, burst pipes, fires, disabled aircraft, hazardous materials, incidents, bomb threats, unruly passengers, presidential arrivals, and sometimes we get multiples of those in a single day. Flying the plane might actually be simpler. But when I'm flying, you can't go without doing your checklist. So we always, fuel pump on, flap set, lights on, altimeter set. Turns out running the airports is no different. We want to make sure the floors are swept, the restrooms are clean, security checkpoints are manned, the traffic's flowing, and the runways are open. Every team, every terminal, every partner, all have to be aligned before we're cleared for takeoff. So I'm proud to tell you today that Houston Airports is ready to fly. And hopefully you saw our exciting recent news that beginning in May of 2026, we'll have nonstop service from Houston to Rome, Italy. We've been working with the Greater Houston Partnership to serve the needs of the business community better, and that route was absolutely part of our strategy. So I want to make sure that you remember last year's speech. I talked about what gets measured gets managed. And so I want to discuss your journey. And it starts at, again, the roadways. And so let's take a little bit of a dive into what we do on a daily basis. I always enjoy coming to these because I want to make sure that the people that are in this room learn something today that they didn't know before they left. And so what I want to do is just talk about some of the ways that we manage what's going on. Because if you don't know Mayor Whitmire, I have a pretty demanding boss. And so he doesn't want, excuses or anything like that. He wants action. And so if we look at one of the key things that we always monitor now is traffic. So this is a dashboard that we look at. On the bottom, you will see the little individual segments of the roadways that we monitored at the airport. And so we wanted to make sure that we solve the traffic challenges at the airport. And so I love this slide now because if you notice on the top, it's got severe traffic. And then in the middle, it's heavy traffic. And then in the lower level, it's moderate traffic. Well, I love all those zeros. And this is from this summer. So late summer, we had 0 severe traffic at the airports. So fantastic work by our teams. But unfortunately, I have to remind everybody. So this is where we were last year at this time. We still had the chaos curb, as I called it. We still had that terrible experience for our international travelers that were coming in here. And that really had a negative impact on the whole experience of the airport. That traffic caused a lot of problems, not only for the international curb, it caused problems for United's terminals, for our Uber and Lyft pickup, for our parking garages, and the overall experience at the airport. And so if we look at where we were at, yeah, it was a pretty bad situation. So again, that red line is the severe traffic, the orange line is the heavy traffic. And so when I had that first meeting with Mayor Whitmire, he basically told me, Jim, you need to fix the traffic at the airport. And so we worked very hard with our partners in the construction industry to accelerate a lot of the things that we were doing at the airport to give us infrastructure that we greatly needed. We also did an increase in our staffing and the way we changed the way the staffing worked at the airport, and then we have had our new integrated coordination center. So all that helped drive down the traffic at the airport. And so if you look to the right, you'll see before I used to have to worry about we're going to be in severe traffic, and the question was how severe was it going to be. Now it's whether it's even going to get to heavy. So really good work on the traffic at the airports. And we've also spent this year trying to clean the place up. So we've trying to get out of this whole construction site look that we've had for a while. So just prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, we got a lot of the barrels out of there, those candlesticks, we opened up the roads, again, really trying to make the place look good. And again, that old chaos curb now has been replaced by this new international arrivals curb with this great piece of art that kind of welcomes everybody into Houston and gives them a much better experience. And we've got the 8 lanes that we needed to be able to handle the traffic. Customer experience. The mayor was very also forward with us in the fact that we really need to think about the customer's experience at the airport. And so one of the things that we do is we do a lot of survey data to be able to see what is happening at the airport from a customer perspective and how are we impacting it to make it better. So this one kind of highlights some of the facts that our parking operation was not good at the airport. This is, again, Net Promoter Score. So again, above 0 is good, below 0 is negative. And then if you look at what we had going on there, we had some negative, severely negative kind of reactions to our parking. And so we're proud to say that basically within a year, we've been able to kind of twist that, and now we are positive at our airports. So very proud on the work from a parking perspective. And then again, that goes to Hobby. So again, Hobby, we had a good parking operation there, but again, we wanted to move that, shift that to excellent. And the restrooms. So if we think about the restrooms, those are often the first impression of your city that you've got for the airport. Again, when we came into that, the mayor was making sure we want to make sure that the restrooms are best as we can make them. Right now, we've got we kind of came into that with about an 85% approval, and we've driven that up to 93%. So that's again our hardworking custodians, and then adding brand new restrooms at the airport really make a difference. And so, again, if we want to get to the feedback that we get from everybody, those restrooms, we get every quarter about 300,000 smiley faces or frowny faces. So that gives us really good insight. We also get, again, very good reactions from the general public on our Wi-Fi surveys that we do. So we do 75,000 Wi-Fi surveys every month, so we can get a lot of feedback on the airport. So we're getting a lot of feedback from the traveling public, executing things to make that difference, and then being able to measure that. I want to see if anybody knows what this is in the room. So I'll save this for later in the speech to explain it to you, but this is a magical device because this allows us to increase our passenger satisfaction and it saves us money. But if we look at all the data that we pull into the airport, we want to make sure that we're measuring it to be able to see we're really moving the dial on that. And so one of the ones that we do is we do an in-terminal survey every quarter with about 1,000 travelers at both airports. And you can see that we've had some problems at Bush, but we're really making a big difference on what we're doing. And that survey, it basically checks arrival at the airport, your check-in experience, your security experience, your border passport control experience throughout the airport, your airport atmosphere, our shopping and dining, our gate areas, and our overall. And the key thing is that we were not even close with our peers. So this is the Bush data. And again, our peers are in that gray bar over there, and we can see that we were significantly below our peers. Well, we've come up to within 1 point. And I think that that's pretty good because of the fact that we still do have construction at the airport. So if you think about the experience in Terminal C, It's one terminal that's handling 2 terminals worth of stuff because Terminal B is currently closed. So yes, there's congestion in B, but in C, but again, we're trying to make the airport experience better, and being able to do all these little things are what really helps for this. At Hobby, again, Hobby, everybody thinks it's kind of a great little airport, and it is a great little airport, but we had some times where we weren't quite doing the best that we could. And so you see that we've been able to really focus on the little things to be able to bring that up here, because again, it is the little things that happen. My dad's here, he was a football coach for over 20 years, and I got preached that the little things matter all the time, every place we went. And that's why we won championships, though. Because of the fact that it's the little things that happen. And so being able to make sure that we focus on those little things really help to drive these numbers. The team and the staff that we've got over here are really trying to make sure that we work on it. So again, I just wanted to give you a little insight that we do care about the opinions of what goes on at the airport. We do take the data seriously, and we again, execute the strategies necessary to make sure that we improve this. From a numbers perspective, I also want to make sure that we understand that when we improve the airport, that's really good for the economy here. So from a Houston perspective, we are responsible for about 200,000 jobs in the region and about $40 billion in annual economic impact. And about $13 billion of that is directly the pay that we pay to the airport employees and everybody that works there that gets poured into the local economy, and the $2.4 billion that we provide in local taxes. And remember, the airport system is completely self-funded, so all the fees that we do there are going right into the airport system. We do not touch the taxpayers of Houston's money. We do our own thing, but the taxpayers of Houston get this great asset that provides all this job and economic activity for the airport and the region. And the great thing about that is we are seeing the increase in the number of passengers that we've got. So again, we're doing this growth, we're doing the improvements, and we are still seeing our passenger numbers increase. So that's, again, great news from an airport perspective that we're continuing to grow the economy here through the airport system. And again, we're very, very excited for FIFA because, again, as the mayor says, we are the most ready city of the FIFA airports, and we are absolutely ready for that. And we are this great geographic location that can really hit a home run from a FIFA perspective. So we're very excited about that. Tomorrow we'll find out who's in town, and I'm very excited to find out because I'm looking for people with money that travel and want to come here and spend a ton. So Germans, Brits, Brazilians, I'm looking for you. So I want to, again, kind of get back to how we do this. So how does an organization as large as the Houston Airport System, kind of measure that visible improvement so quickly? And the key thing is ultimately, I have a great team. And in fact, some of them are here with us today. So I'd like you all to stand up really quick for a quick round of applause to really thank you for what you do on a daily basis. So having the right people in the place to deliver the best job is crucial, and so we need to make sure that we understand the bigger picture. The World Cup is going to help us raise the bar, but we have to look beyond 2026 and prepare for long-term opportunities. The Federal Aviation Administration forecasts that Houston will experience significant growth in the next 20 years. So we're working with United, Southwest, and other airlines to invest more than $5 billion to expand Bush and Hobby airports. And here's some more breaking news for you. Beginning in February of 2026, we will begin officially moving the international airlines into the new international terminal at Bush Airport. Thank you. The last 5 years of patience is about to pay off, so here's a sneak peek of what the new international processor is going to look like. It's going to consolidate departures and arrivals into a building that will deliver seamless experience from start to finish. I can't wait for you to experience this world-class facility. Houston really deserves this. From the latest technology in ticketing to the most modern TSA lanes, a modern baggage handling system, and the Oculus that showcases the best of Houston. This new building centralizes the entire international travel experience from departures to arrivals. A great pedestrian bridge seamlessly connects Terminal C, D, and E parking garage into the new facility. And look at all those lanes for passenger pickups and drop-offs. We're making major progress with Terminal B transformation, the $2.55 billion redevelopment in partnership with United Airlines. Things are moving along very quickly. Construction began in January 2024, so again, not a long time ago in construction world. And look how far we've come. When Passenger B reopens in late 2026, passengers will walk through a concourse with floor-to-ceiling windows, expanded concessions, flexible gate space, and the largest United club in their network. The local food lineup, The local food lineup is going to be incredible. We're adding B&B Butchers, Pizarro's Pizza, Blood Brothers Barbecue, and Rosie Cannonball to our already award-winning selection of iconic Houston restaurants. Terminal B is one of Bush's original terminals. It opened to the public in 1969, just as man was preparing to land on the moon. In 2026, Terminal B begins its next chapter, just as the Houston Spaceport prepares to return man to the moon and beyond. At Hobby Airport, a $470 million expansion of our West Concourse is underway, working in partnership with Southwest Airlines. This project will be completed in 2027 and will add 7 new gates, an expanded baggage handling system, and new canopy connecting the parking garage to the departures curb. The baggage claim area will be reimagined and beautiful. New clear story windows will finally let the light in. The space will also allow for more retail and dining options to an already stellar lineup that includes Killen's Barbecue, Velvet Taco, The Rustic, and soon Common Bond and Landry's Seafood. Thank you. One of the mayor's key priorities was improving the airport restrooms. As I mentioned previously, we are thrilled to see positive feedback numbers continuing to rise. This means the changes that we're implementing are working. In January of 2024, IAH restrooms received only 85% positive feedback. That means that 15% of our customers were displeased with our restroom facilities. In October of this year, IAH increased that to over 93% positive feedback. During that same period for Hobby Airport, positive feedback increased from 94 to 96. But we can only do so much with our worn-out restrooms, and improvements matter. That's why we're investing more than $30 million to upgrade restrooms that we manage throughout Hobby Airport and in Terminals A and D at Bush. The modernization includes longer doors, occupancy sensors, touchless sinks, and new counters. We're rolling out improvements one set at a time so the impact on passengers is minimal during construction. Later this month, United Airlines will begin reconstruction of restrooms they manage in Terminals C and E in alignment with our upgrade. By the end of the mayor's first term, all the restrooms at Hobby will have been reconstructed. And by the start of the mayor's second term, all restrooms at Bush will have been reconstructed. So remember the tool that I showed you at the beginning of that? Well, that's our glossometer. The glossometer actually reflects the light reflected on our floors so our team can measure and maintain that shine. I challenged our custodial team to improve the flooring appearance, and they found a smarter, greener way to do it. Last fall, we began using diamond pads to polish more than 800,000 square feet of hard terminal floorings across Terminals A, D, and E. This process eliminated chemicals, saved more than $150,000, and makes the floors more slip resistant. You can now see the reflections of light in our floors. We're checking off, yes, thank you. I love shiny floors. So we're checking off cleaner facilities and better infrastructure on our checklist. Houston Airports is ready to shine. A truly world-class airport needs public transit that connects key parts of the city. Metro buses now connect Bush Airport with the convention center and downtown. In January, the route expands, connecting GRB and downtown with Hobby Airport. That means the travelers that show up at the wrong airport for their flight, and it happens, can now hop on Metro to downtown and continue to the correct airport. But seriously, these new Metro bus routes will come in handy during the World Cup. I know a lot of my senior management team today actually took the bus from Bush to this event, so they got to experience it firsthand. And then for the World Cup, international fans can fly into Houston and pay less than $5 to ride the bus to downtown before they hop on Metro Rail to the East End or NRG Stadium. This public transit option will only strengthen as GRB moves forwards with its expansion. We already welcome hundreds of thousands of people who fly into town for conventions, concerts, and sporting events. No other city has 3 major venues within walking distance of its convention center. Soccer, basketball, and baseball are now only a bus ride away from our airports. And if my dream comes true, we'll soon have a hockey team too. And my wife and parents who are joining us today know I'm ready to dust off my old goalie pads to be the emergency backup goaltender for Houston's NHL hockey team. Thank you. And for Houstonians who park and fly, we've got you covered too. Earlier, I talked about how we've improved our parking satisfaction rating, and here's how we did it. This year, we completed the installation of a new parking system at our parking garage and eco-park lots. The high-tech system reads your license plate upon entry and exit. No need to search for that ticket after your flight, and the whole system is cashless, aligning with experience drivers are used to across Houston and other major cities. This new system expedites entry and exit and integrates directly with our online parking system. We also have a new fleet of shuttle buses for EcoPark, and we're improving the reliability and comfort for our passengers. For those of you who just traveled with us during the Thanksgiving, thank you. I know the convenience that comes with reserving your parking online at flytohouston.com. When your reservation is made at least 12 hours in advance, you're guaranteed a spot. On a checklist, even the little things matter, like Wi-Fi in the rideshare pickup zones. And Bush at Hobby, we strengthened our Wi-Fi and installed cellular antennas for stronger service. We increased the capacity for Uber and Lyft vehicles, and we added seatings. These upgrades are simple but essential to our vision: to establish the Houston airport system as a premier 5-star global air service gateway, a source of pride for Houstonians, and the actively preferred choice for connecting passengers. One of my mantras is that our customers can literally fly away, and that's what drives us. We need to give a passenger every reason to choose our airports, because about 38% of the people who fly through Bush and Hobby are connecting. Some simple math on that right now is that 24 million people connect through our airports last year. That's 24 million people who never stepped foot outside of our airports. When travelers are actively choosing where to spend their layover, we want them to choose Houston. When it comes to operational consistency, Houston is a better choice. The FAA tracks ground stop events. In this case, the higher the bar, the worse your score. Houston is less prone to ground stops than other competitors in Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, and Chicago. We want international passengers to choose our airports also. That's why we strive to get people through customs in 30 minutes or less and through TSA in under 22 minutes. We want passengers to remember our airports for the ease, the warmth, the efficiency, and feeling that their journey matters to us. Families find play areas and mother's room designed with care. Travelers who need calm can retreat to our sensory rooms. In 2018, we became the first airport system in Texas to partner with Aira, a mobile app which provides live narration for blind and low vision passengers. This year, we expanded our partnership with Aira, and the app now provides live ASL translations for passengers who are hearing impaired. We're the first airports in Texas and one of the few in the United States to offer both services. In the last year, our Hidden Disability Sunflower Lanyard program has trained more than 30,000 badged employees to provide understanding, patience, and care to passengers whose needs may not be easily visible. The airport experience matters. It helps us land new routes and attract more connecting passenger. The airport experience powers what we call the layover economy. When millions of travelers don't just pass through Houston, they remember Houston. Maybe during a connection at Bush, they learn about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, or sample one of Houston's hometown favorite restaurants and decide Houston just isn't a stopover, it's a destination. The service we provide in our airports drives our reach around the world and builds loyalty. Today, we're rewarding it. This year, we launched Fly Houston Rewards, a program that turns everyday purchases in our terminals into gift cards or cash back. When you combine operational excellence, true hospitality, something bigger happens: growth. As we begin to check off more items on our checklist, we recognize that Houston's airports are ready to grow. This month, Frontier launched 3 new nonstop routes from Bush to Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Later this month, United is launching its first ever route to Tepic in western Mexico. Our ties with Mexico continue to grow. Volaris added San Luis Potosí and Morelia in July, supporting the airline's 4th and 5th routes from Houston. United's nonstop to Puerto Escondido opened in April, another coastal escape only hours from Houston. We are the premier U.S. gateway to Latin America for millions of travelers because Houston offers choice, value, and a faster path to where they're going. We're also strengthening our ties to Asia. Zip Air launched Houston-Tokyo in March. The route is doing well, and Zip Air just added more weekly flights this winter. We're adding more airlines, and we're celebrating legacy routes of others. For more than a decade, United Airlines has connected Space City to Japan. This year, all Nippon Airways marked 10 years connecting Houston and Tokyo. EVA Air celebrated a decade of linking Houston and Taipei, Taiwan. This proves that long-term partnerships and a great passenger experience sustain global bridges. Connectivity expands closer to home, too. United reinstated its Houston-Edmonton service in May to tighten the energy and innovation ties. Alaska Airlines introduced new daily service to Portland, Oregon. From Hobby, Avelo launched Wilmington, North Carolina. Allegiant celebrated 5 years at Hobby and added Alabama Gulf Shores. These are all more low-fare options for quick trips. And we're ready to fly to Italy. Start packing. Starting in May 2026, ITA Airlines will offer 5 weekly flights to Rome. And so I want to make sure you understand, again, the United folks, I'm on them for the Rome flight for quite some time. Now their partner, ITA, is going to do it. So I got to change them to Madrid and Lisbon. It'll be my next mantras that I'll be after them for. So. But again, that's one of those things that we don't, we're not stopping here. We want to add more destinations to our airport. Airlines invest where passengers want to spend time. We think of an airport about growth and how, we're often thinking about leaving the city, but Houston's a destination and it connects the world. It's why United Airlines now connects folks from the small city of Salina, Kansas to the big city of Houston. The airport in Salina worked for over a decade to establish this route. They recognize our access to the world is what they wanted and they wanted in. In April, United will connect regional airport in Montgomery, Alabama to Houston. The Montgomery airport director is quoted as saying, "This monumental milestone for our entire community is this new nonstop service to Houston represents a gateway for business, tourism, and opportunity." And I couldn't agree more. With recent new route announcements, Houston is now part of the 200 Club, joining only a few cities in the U.S. which offer more than 200 nonstop destinations. Yeah, that's impressive. But I want to make sure you understand that we play a really good role with the host Houston economy. And again, AAA is forecasting now nearly 22 million Americans will sail next year on cruises, a new record. Millions of them will fly into our airports from landlocked communities like Salina and Montgomery before they board ships docked at one of our 4 cruise terminals in Galveston. In 2027, when the Icon of the Sea, one of the world's largest cruise ship, officially calls Galveston home, our airports will be ready with all those new gates that we're adding right now. Our airports generate $40 billion in annual economic activity, and our cargo flights are just as impressive. Air cargo generates $13.8 billion for our regional economy. This year, we're on track to move a record 565,000 metric tons of cargo that's worth more than $23 billion in international trade. And what's driving those numbers? Electronics. Our operations, again, continue to support the traditional oil and gas cargo that we're known for. But as supply chains in the world shift, and as Houston diversifies its industry, Bush Airports is rising to the occasion. We are now a key distribution point for imported goods like cell phones, electronics, semiconductors. And these shipments are coming in from markets including Taiwan, Vietnam, Brazil, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia. And when it comes to exports, we're seeing an increase in aircraft parts, space parts, computers, computer chips, and even expensive art and antiques. We're flying these goods out to markets like the United Kingdom and Brazil and the Netherlands and Germany and Australia and Argentina and India, all those large economies. Houston's landscape is changing, as so is our air cargo. Next year, a cargo handler at IAH is expected to achieve the International Air Transport Association's pharmaceutical certification for cold storage freight facilities. This new cargo opportunity will positively impact hospitals, pharmaceutical manufacturers, the universities, the new research center at the Texas Medical Center, and Generation Park. And it's not all tech and gadgets. If you shopped online this past Cyber Monday, thank you. Your favorite package delivery companies are increasing flights in and out of Houston this holiday season. E-commerce fills over 550 freighters each month, an increase of almost 2.5% over last year. I think my lovely wife, Sonia, may be responsible for at least one of those freighters. But again, we're talking more flights in our skies and amongst the stars. And so the Houston Spaceport, celebrating its 10-year anniversary. In 1 decade, the Houston Spaceport has grown into a hub with over $10 billion in aerospace contracts. The Spaceport and Ellington Airport support over 8,500 jobs and drives $2 billion in annual economic impact. From astronaut training with Axiom Space to lunar landers by Intuitive Machine, Houston Airports is shaping the next space age. Intuitive Machines is also preparing to deploy the first of 6 satellites in a new space data network that will benefit commercial space operations and the national airspace agencies. Texas Space Commission is funding Axiom Space to build first generation of powerful, secure computer systems in space that can process data, run AI, and help protect satellites, all without relying on computers back on Earth. The state is also backing a new testing facility at the spaceport for Venus Aerospace. This expansion was approved by Mayor Whitmire and the Houston City Council earlier this year and is already under construction. Houston is home to the world's first truly urban spaceport, and sooner than we think, we might actually be home to the first flying taxis. Our airport system is working with the FAA to figure out what kind of airspace is actually needed for flying taxis. We're in the process of running simulations, and we'll know more soon. And it may sound like we're growing simply because we're checking off boxes of that list, but all growth is part of our master plan, literally. We are planning for Houston's future right now. Our airport system is in the process of updating our master plans. They're in the works, and we'll be in public comment sessions sometime next year. So if you have any ideas for us, I hope to see you at some of our community meetings. So as we manage daily operations and plan for the future, our checklist remains vital. And I'm happy to tell you the Houston Airports is ready to fly. We're ready to shine, we're ready to grow, and we're ready for 2026. So let's keep the conversation going. Please help me in welcoming Ryan Walsh, the CEO of the Harris County Houston Sports Authority, to the stage while we chat a little bit more about the 2026 World Cup coming up.
All right,
Good
well
seeing
done,
you.
sir. Well
Thank you,
done.
thank you.
We
All right, we got to put our official
ubiquitous
scarves on.
scarf, Yep.
Yes, there we go.
There we go.
All right,
Now it's official.
We
Now
can
we're
talk.
ready.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me and including me in the conversation. It's exciting to talk about not just the airport system, but certainly the collaboration with the authority and the host committee and everything else. And certainly thank you to Mayor Whitmire. And I do have to say that, you know, we're very, very fortunate to work under such a great mayor, right, Mayor? Yes. But he also said that we're doing a great job. And you're the lucky one because he only picked me because the haircut is just like his. But so we're about 200 days away from World Cup, and I don't think people get how big an event this really is. And I know that the airport system's been working with our host committee and the rest of the partners, but tell us what it's like when some of these fans come through this airport, and what are they going to expect, and how you all are planning for this big influx of people coming through?
So one of the first things that's really great, and I want to thank our partners on Customs and Border Protection, is we've recently, last month, rolled out EPP, so it's Enhanced Passenger Processing at Bush. And so that's going to be for U.S. Passport holders. They can now come into the airport. We have 4 kiosks there. They do facial recognition, matches it with your passport, and you walk through. That process right now is running about 50% faster than the old way. So we'll be able to process U.S. citizens much quicker with a smaller amount of customs officers, and so that's going to give us more customs officers to be able to dedicate to the foreign nationals that are coming through the airport. So again, making sure that that processing system works good. The other thing is we've recently opened our new integrated coordination center. So we've had a lot of people, like the airport's this dynamic machine, and we had a lot of work groups that were separated and segregated throughout the airport. And so we've brought them all together so that they can collaborate. So we've got our gate management folks, our terminal operations folks, the TSA, HPD, our operations center folks in there. They're all in one room now, so it's going to give us much more tactical capacity to be able to react to the incidents that we've got at the airport. So again, and then we've also recently hired some airport GMs. So we've got general managers for Bush and a general manager for Hobby, because I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't be in all places at all times. So now we've got some dedicated leadership to be able to focus on everything.
That's a lot. That's a lot going on. I did notice, and you may have noticed walking in, is the foosball table out front.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, is that going to be a new fixture? Is that something we need to start practicing on? And also tell us a little bit about the hometown influence that has.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that the experience for World Cup starts the second you walk off the plane. And so we've got these new foosball tables in there to kind of get people in the mood for it. Again, we kind of toyed with it last year when we had Beyonce came in, so we did a lot of Beyonce-specific activations in the terminal to give everybody
Queen Bee
that
effect,
the Queen.
naturally,
Yes,
of course,
absolutely.
yes.
And so we did that natural effect there, and we'll see that more coming forward. So we've got, again, the individual activations there, because we're trying to, again, make that really welcoming statement that when you get off the plane, you're in Houston and you're really going to experience things, and we really love it. And then the great thing is that we're going to have the new international carriers. They're going to move into the new terminal, and that's going to give us the D lobby. And so we'll have the ability to do more events in there and help with the logistics and the bus transit and all that kind of fun stuff that can happen because of the fact that we've got actually a little space now to do extra stuff.
Well, I'll be looking for the foosball table next time I'm in the airport, that's for sure. You mentioned just a little bit ago about the draw, the FIFA draw tomorrow, which, of course, for those who aren't soccer fans, is where FIFA has a lottery-style system and determines which countries go to which cities, essentially, which group stages and pots. So we're going to find out tomorrow and Saturday, essentially, who's coming to Houston and what that means. And you mentioned several countries, one of those obviously Italy, right? We'd like Italy to be here, it would be nice. There's no doubt that your team's preparing, the authorities team, the host committee, the volunteers, all of the other partners that are working with this to make this happen are preparing for this. You listed several nonstop flights that connect Houston to the world, and want to know about that connectivity. One thing you and I were talking about earlier is it's not just the people coming to the matches into Houston, it's the people going to the other matches in the other host cities, and that Houston's going to be that central hub. What makes Houston so unique in regards to that connectivity?
Yeah, so we have nonstop service to all the other World Cup destinations, so that's good for us. And again, it's convenient, so we're centralized in the United States, so it's only about roughly a 2 to 3 hour flight to most of the venues, with the exception of Vancouver. But if we think about how what that does, is that we want to try, and if you'll see marketing throughout the airport that we've got right now, trying to explain to people that are currently going through the airport, make Houston your hub. We want to make sure that you kind of stay here and spend money here. Because of the fact that if you're in Kansas City, I mean, nothing against Kansas City, I've been there, it's very nice, but I can't spend 2 weeks in Kansas City. You'll see everything and do everything pretty quickly. So let's stay here in Houston. We've got more than enough to keep you busy, and then when you need to fly up there, you can catch the flight, and we'll get you there in an hour and a half, and then you can go see the game, then you come back here and live the cosmopolitan lifestyle. And so the other things that I would say on that too is we're actually preparing for 2 World Cups, right? And so we've got World Cup Houston, so we got to get ready for all that. But since we're this transit point between the Mexican airports and the North American airports, we actually have to understand what's going on in those markets, because we can see huge flows going through the airports on days you wouldn't expect it, because of the fact that a lot of people are leaving the Mexican games and coming up to the North American games. So it's a complicated thing that we got to get prepared for.
It's a lot of people, a lot of preparation.
Yes.
And speaking of preparation, you've got about 1,300 employees across your 3 airports, and they're all ready to go. And there's a lot of preparation that you're doing with the employees themselves. How are you preparing them, and what are some of the steps y'all are taking to get the employees ready for?
Yeah, so obviously everybody was coming in here today. We had some of our fine employees out here helping you, and you'll notice that they were in their visible orange polos, and that's a part of it. So the senior staff and I sometimes go out and we work the holidays. So we'll go out to the curbs and to the areas, and I worked one. I was a spring break a couple years ago, and I was there in my orange safety vest, and I had a customer service rep that was next to me in their business suit. And so they blended in with everybody else, and everybody came to me and asked me the questions. And it's like, okay, we need to change this up. So number one, our staff right now, we made them much more visible in the terminal so you can get those questions answered. Because that is, we've got people who are coming from one airport with a handful of gates, and to Bush, that's 5 terminals and trains and all kinds of stuff. So we need to help our passengers. So making sure that our folks are visible is key to it. If we think about our staff, our international staff that works in the international terminal speaks more than 22 languages. And so making sure that we've got the necessary language skills that we need, and then once we get the draw tomorrow, we can make sure that we can tailor signage necessary to any kind of specialty language that may be a little more difficult for us to deal with. That translates also to our website. So our website now is available in more than 40 languages. And so when you're in your home country, you have the ability to log on to our website and try and figure things out in your native tongue. So that's definitely one of those things that we're trying to work for. And we'll have dozens of volunteers too. Our volunteer program is very robust. So we'll have them out, and you'll see me. I'll be out in my orange polo too, helping the passengers over there. But again, making sure that we're really going to help that experience when people come through here. Number one, the people coming to Houston, we want to have them a great experience. But even the people that are transferring through our facility, just make sure that they have a good experience so that we leave a good taste in their mouth.
Absolutely. And for a lot of those people, the airports will be Houston's first sight and their last when they're leaving to go home. So that's fantastic to know. And as you know, as everybody in this room knows, Houston is a big city that does big events really, really well. We're a world-class destination for so many things, including World Cup. And we have a lot going on before World Cup even gets here. We've got World Baseball Classic at Dyken Park. We've got March Madness Sweet 16 at Toyota Center. We've got some incredible conventions coming our way. How does all of what you're working on now play into your master plan for the growth of the airports?
Well, again, the Beyonce activation last year was a good kind of warm-up for how we can probably do things at the airport better to maybe, give that welcoming feel to whatever event that we're hosting in town. So we want to make sure that we do that, because again, it's one of those things that if you have a memorable experience at the airport, that's helpful. If we think about us competing for convention business and these large events, if we can provide a really good service, that's one of those things that makes us stand apart. So again, from a FIFA perspective, I think that the mayor is correct when he says our city is one of the best prepared for FIFA right now. I know from my perspective, we've got our own FIFA rep on site, and he's telling us that we're much more advanced. That's FIFA gym, not airport gym. So we're both named Jim, so we have to segregate. We have to make sure that we know which gym you're talking about. But FIFA gym tells us that we're, from an airport perspective, much advanced compared to some of our other airports that we're dealing with over here in the United States. So having that, I know we just saw that we're going to put in a bid now for the women's FIFA, and so putting in that best foot forward from an airport perspective really helps us. Again, we're here talking to the business community, and if we can have our airports run, that's going to help locate some of those businesses to kind of come here to our airport system. So again, that new nonstop flight to Italy, I'm not joking with Steve when we were talking about, okay, what businesses in Italy can we now go attract because we have this nonstop service. So really making sure we tie the airports into how important they are to the business community. And then again, for these big events that you're trying to run here, like all the country concerts, if we think about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, trying to bring in more folks to be able to experience that, trying to get those baseball, and now the Houston Cougars football team's doing fantastic.
Go Cougs, all right.
Yeah, that helps bring people in, because if you got that high quality football team where you're going to competitive game, the fans travel in from the other team to see it. If it's, one of those things where it's like, we're just going to blow out this team. Okay, well, maybe they don't travel. So I'm very excited about the Cougs, and they're, and then obviously the basketball team's doing fantastic, so coming in here to see those. So that all makes a big difference to us because, again, we're all about moving the passengers.
No, absolutely. And certainly Go Cougs, ranked for the first time since 21. I think they're in good contention for Selection Sunday this weekend. So you've got the draw, you got Selection Sunday, a whole bunch of other great stuff that's going to happen around Houston sports. And I do have to say that the airport system really is, as we go out and bid for a lot of these major sporting events, the airport system in Houston is one of the key selling points, honestly, that they look for and that they latch onto us because it's so well placed, it's so well run, and it moves so many people so quickly. So that's certainly a kudos to you and your team. And one last question, so we can get everybody out of here by 1:30, is some insider info, right? How do you get into the United Lounge? What are your travel hacks and prime destinations, and how are you going to take a break after World Cup?
Okay, so number one, I do not transfer through Dallas. So that's my number one.
I think it's state law that you're not allowed to, yeah. City ordinance that you're not allowed to go to Dallas.
So I did that once. I learned my lesson. My wife won't actually let me fly through Dallas anymore. So that's your number one. So jump on one of our airlines and try and go nonstop as you best. And again, it's very important that it's a milestone for us. We're now in the 200 club, and so there's not many cities that can say that they can offer 200 nonstop destinations between our two airports. So that's important for us. Again, the parking, you got to reserve your parking. It's great. You get on there, you reserve your parking, you don't have to worry about it because the worst thing is you show up and the garage is full, and now you got to go out to the Eco Park, and the 15 minutes that you thought it was going to take you to get from the garage through the processing, now you got to add an extra time. So adding that that garage parking and reserving your spot is definitely helpful for us. And for anybody coming to pick up at the airport, just remember to use the cell phone lots. When grandma is she tells you to land, doesn't mean you can come to the curb. She's got to be on the curb with her bags in order to help them. Again, I saw those great traffic numbers, and we want to keep them that way.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things that's really important for us.
No cheating is what you're saying.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim. This has been fantastic. I hope you all got something out of this, and I certainly learned a lot today about the airport system and getting ready for World Cup. The Sports Authority and our host committee team, we're very, very grateful for you and your team working so closely. There's no way we can do this. I always tell people that it's not just an authority event or a city event. It's everyone's event. This really is everyone's an event, and it's going to take all of us to make sure that this is an absolutely successful World Cup. It's generational for a lot of us. Appreciate you, appreciate your time and your team.